Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, I'd feel bad for some of these people if they weren't such dishonest little scoundrels. You know, the baseline fact here is, fundamentally, being Joe Biden's spokesperson, it's a pretty tough job, pretty tough gig. You need to constantly lie and constantly come up with some reason or some way to justify Joe Biden's ridiculous actions, and of course all of the lies that he spews on a daily basis. It's a tough job, but at the same time, if you decide to take it, if you decide to be a White House DNC stooge, well then you don't get any benefit of the doubt from me. These people have no shame. I couldn't possibly imagine. You would have to pay me such a ridiculous amount of money for me to even consider standing at that podium every single day and straight up lying to the American people and pretending that reality isn't reality. The only way I would even think about it, not even do it, but just consider it, is if you offered me generational wealth. But these people, they do it for a measly government salary. Of course, they're probably going to get gigs at MSNBC and whatnot and be connected to the politically entrenched pretty much for the rest of their professional lives. Sure, of course, that's a factor. But if anything, that adds to the argument that these people are nothing but self-interested, career-focused Washington scoundrels. Of course, the top two spokespeople for Joe Biden are Karine Jean-Pierre and Mr. John Kirby. Let's just say these two had a little bit of a tough week. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so let's first start off with little Karine Jean-Pierre. How long's it been since Karine Jean-Pierre took over the role? At this point it's been longer than a year, right? I feel like Jen Psaki wasn't really there for that long. It might have even been a year and a half, even going on 2 years. Well, we followed her illustrious career, and throughout all of this time, I am still waiting for Karine Jean-Pierre to answer a question. Not an easy question, not a layup, not a reporter raising their hand. Oh, Karine, what flavor of ice cream did Joe Biden choose on his recent visit? Yeah, that's not the question the American people are interested in. Anytime Karine Jean-Pierre is asked any relevant question, topics that are relevant to American voters, especially headed into a general election, anytime she's asked a serious question related to a serious topic or scandal related to the Bidens, it's either a refusal to answer and a pivot towards Bidenomics, or it's Karine Jean-Pierre abruptly ending the press conference and running out the back door.
On impeachment, you just mentioned House Republicans' baseless claims. How confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates President Biden and Hunter's business dealings as this goes forward?
So let me just give a little bit of a lay down here, because I think it's important. Any specifics to the inquiry, certainly I want to say this at the top, as I said to Darlene, I'm going to refer you to my colleagues at the counsel's office, but I also want to be clear about a couple of things. I just talked about Bidenomics. I just talked about the president's going to do tomorrow, really deliver a major speech, something that the American people want to hear about. What are we doing to improve their lives, work on the economy? And these are real issues, real priorities for Americans. And like I said, like lowering costs. But what you see Republicans in Congress, right, they have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they have spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. That is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation. And with that, folks...
Can you explain why the president interacted with so many of his son's foreign business associates? More than half of voters told CNN they believe the president was involved and he lied. You can't have a response to that, Karine?
And of course, the only time she did kind of give an answer, what did she do? She simply pushed the DNC talking point.
You see Republicans in Congress, right? They have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they have spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. That is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation. And that's because the president didn't do anything wrong.
There's no evidence, none, to support the allegations. Right, no evidence. Aside from emails, text messages, photos, visitor logs, a voicemail, first-hand accounts, business associates, and eyewitness testimony. No evidence. It's a really shocking phenomenon to see somebody stand at that podium and just lie constantly. You know, it's not the Kayleigh McEnany thing, where narratives are being presented and she's presenting facts, and, you know, where narratives are being presented in ridiculous questions by the press, and Kayleigh McEnany is hitting back with the facts and refuting statement after statement. It's not that, it's just straight up lying in denial of reality. Here's a perfect moment from, I think, a week ago, where Karine Jean-Pierre was questioned about Joe Biden's gaffe at the Medal of Honor ceremony. During the Medal of Honor ceremony, Joe Biden presents the medal to a war hero, and then of course the dementia hits, and he prematurely just walks out of the room. Job's done. It was an obvious dementia gaffe, and Karine Jean-Pierre, when questioned about it, said this.
The president took off his mask, as I said he would, to deliver incredibly powerful remarks about this captain, Captain Taylor, and what he did in service to our nation, and he wanted to honor the captain. And for a brief time afterwards, he also didn't have his mask on, as you just laid out, and he left as planned, as it was planned. He left when there was a pause in the program in order to minimize his close contact with attendees who are about to participate in a reception. And as you all reported that, noticed that he left when there was a pause in the program, because again, he wanted to minimize certainly his impact on folks who were there.
Oh, well, Joe Biden just left the room early to minimize his impact on others. He was just being courteous and protecting people's health after his wife Jill had caught the virus. Yeah, I'm sure Joe Biden is so conscious about minimizing his impact, even though literally 2 days later, Joe Biden comes in close contact with the Saudi royals and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Ah, yes, Joe Biden is so conscious and clearly trying very hard to minimize his impact. It's obviously a charade, right? It's non-stop lying. And really, it's like double lying, because you have Joe Biden who's constantly lying, and then you have his team lying in their defense of Joe Biden's lies. It's lies upon lies. Joe Biden recently made up a bunch of stories, you know, like he usually does, to play to the crowd or play to whatever the topic of the day is. John Kirby was asked a question about this, and well, take a look.
John, in the past couple of weeks, the president has lied about being at Ground Zero the day after the September 11th attacks, falsely claimed he saw the Pittsburgh Bridge collapse, claimed his grandfather died in the hospital days before his birth. What is going on with the president? Is he just believing things that didn't happen did happen, or is he just randomly making stuff up?
The president was deeply touched and honored to be able to spend 9/11 with military members there in Alaska and some families, and was honored by their presence and the chance to make an important set of remarks about why we need to continue to remember that day. And he did that. And he spoke about a visit to Ground Zero, which he did participate in, about a week or so after the event.
Blah, 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 blah. A bunch of empty nonsense rhetoric didn't even answer the question. The question is, why is Joe Biden such a frickin' liar who constantly lies about everything? Joe Biden, I guess, is trying to get a headline win on 9/11, promoting a story that he was there the next day on the ground, when he obviously wasn't. And the weird part is, he's trying to take credit by promoting himself as a guy who's on the ground, on the scene, when it took him, like 13 days to be on the scene in Maui? And even then, his on-the-ground response was an absolute joke. Not to mention, he's yet to visit East Palestine, which is another thing that Karine Jean-Pierre and others are getting challenged on, and again, giving total non-answers.
Okay, just one more. The president said over the long weekend that he hasn't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. I just haven't been able to break. The derailment was on February 3rd. President Biden has not had a break since February 3rd.
The president will go to East Palestine. He promised that he would, and he will. You saw him.
So he was not on a break when he was in Lake Tahoe?
I will say this again. The president is going to go to East Palestine, as he has said that he is committed to do.
Let's draw back to that same flashback that we usually do, where former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki claimed that the Biden administration would be the most transparent in American history. Well, obviously, they're the least transparent in American history. They constantly lie about everything, and then they lie to cover it up. This is the most incompetent and the most dishonest administration in modern American history, and it's not even close. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.